Today we're going to prepare a special coral shipment for a couple friends of mine, and we are going to frag the weeping willow. Kinda. Let's go. What's up, coral people? If you're new here, my name is Remy, and this is the Bahama Llama Coral YouTube channel. Thank you so kindly for the support. If you haven't yet, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified whenever I upload new videos. I gotta be honest, I was gonna take this week off. Allergies are kicking up, and I'm like super behind on sleep, but we are gonna push through, and today, I think you're gonna like this video. We are gonna get back to normal this week. Last week, if you missed it, I made a video on how you can make a YouTube channel for your reef tank. Definitely check that out if you've been thinking about starting your own channel. It's linked above and below. Today I'm gonna start preparing for a very special coral shipment. About a month ago, Inappropriate Reefer and I agreed to terms on a trade. A weeping willow for some assorted gorgonian frags. Well, he paid up, and you may have seen me do the unboxing of that video. If you haven't, link in the description and above again. He's paid up on his side of the deal, so it's time for me to pay up on my side of the deal. So if you remember, when I fragged the weeping willow the first time, the trunk had grown across two rocks, so I had to slice the trunk down the middle, and on the left side of that rock, where there was some flesh that remained, a couple of babies popped up. There's also a bunch of zoas on this rock, so I figured I'd take this as an opportunity to kind of show you how I would frag off zoas from a rock, and also isolate these two little weeping willow babies for not only Inappropriate Reefer, but also Jim, otherwise known as Telegraham on YouTube. I think we tend to overcomplicate things when it comes to cutting frags off of the actual rock. Now, if you can pull the rock out, that is a luxury. If you have to do this in the tank, that's a whole nother story, but we're gonna be able to pull this rock out. We'll do that, we'll get it on the table, and we'll go ahead and cut it up. Let's get into it.
Yesterday.
Do a 5-gallon water change, that way I'll have plenty of water to work with since it's a larger rock. We're gonna remove the rock, go ahead and put it in that bucket, and then we will use either the bone cutters or the rotary saw to get this weeping willow baby off of the rock. I think there is 2 in there. Those are the ones that I'm going to ship over to Telegraham and Mok-Yi. So let's go ahead and do that water change and get the rock out, and then we'll head on over to the table and we'll go ahead and frag those up. So here's my 5 gallons of new water. Let's go ahead and turn the pumps off. So this should be a pretty quick process. I always love looking at the tank when the flow is off. It's so cool to see everything and all the algae I need to take care of. Looks pretty good. This thing is really growing. Go back to the episode that I did with Jeremy from Reef News Network. This right here, I think it's called a Comanche, but it has taken off. Here's the little home wrecker nub. And then my solar flare here is coloring up nicely, but everything looks okay. I've just got little bits of algae here and there, but everything's growing out. I really need to frag some of these zoas back. And here, I'll give you a chance here. You can kind of see them. It looks like Aptasia back there, but it's not. Those are 2 little baby weeping willows. All right, guys, so as usual, I always preach, safety and all that kind of stuff, so just want to make sure your eyes are protected whenever you're cutting any kind of rock or doing any kind of fragging whatsoever. Especially, there's zoas on this rock. Now, I've never had any issues with that, but you just want to protect yourself, just in case. Now, I really don't know what the best way to do this is at this point. It's really going to depend on the angle of how this rock is and how the frags will be on that rock. I also don't know what kind of hidden creepy crawlies are in this rock either, because this rock has not been out of the tank since I installed the tank. So we're gonna go ahead, we'll take this out of the tank, we'll put it right here, we'll get those weeping willows off first. I'm gonna try and just do it with the bone cutters. If we have to start it with the rotary tool here, we can do that. This is a cheap Amazon Goxawi, I don't even know, but it came with a diamond wheel, which is what I wanted for cutting any kind of like stone or hard material. So if we have to start it with this, we'll go ahead and do that. This is perfect. Guys, this is like $40, so I'll leave a link in the description. You can get a Dremel if you want, or if you already have a Dremel, you can use your Dremel, but I just wouldn't want to put a Dremel through any kind of like salt water or anything like that. So get something that you're not gonna miss if something goes wrong or it starts to rust or whatever. Obviously clean it after every use, but I like to go with this. It does the trick, it does the same thing, and I don't have to worry about ruining my nice Dremel. All right, so let's go ahead and get the rock out. And it looks like tons of sponges. All right, so this is one toadstool and this is another one. Can you see that? Yeah, it looks like those are the only two that are on that side. I'm gonna see if I can get the bone cutters in here and just snip it off. Yeah. I just don't want to damage it, you know what I mean? I don't want to get too much, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this. So the idea is if I score it, maybe it'll come off a little bit easier. Well, the bottom came off. This should make it easier though. Right here, now I can get it in there. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Look at that. One toadstool. And I think we'll do the same thing with this one. If I can get just a little bit of the, might be able to get this in here. All right, I'm gonna make another little notch underneath here. Close. I'm pretty sure this thing is just hanging on by a little bit of flesh, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sever that real quick. This is a lot harder to do with rocks than it is to do with frag plugs because you're working with, you know, irregular shapes. All right, that should do it. All right. Toadstool number 2. So tiny. Now, since these zoas on the end here are kind of just hanging out, I think I'm gonna lop this off and make a frag out of that too. So I've had some people ask me on, you know, how to frag zoas off rock. Again, it varies so much. It's case by case, and you just kind of have to have the right tools, razor blade, bone cutters, rotary saw if you need it, and then, you know, you've got a nice little frag right here. I'll clean that up and go ahead and mount that on a frag plug. I'm gonna go ahead and get this rock back in the tank, and we'll mount these up on frag plugs. Oh, also, while I'm here, I am going to slice off a couple of frags off of another frag of Weeping Willow from the lagoon. This is a frag of the Weeping Willow that I've had for a little bit now. This is one of the ones that I ended up keeping for myself. So I'm just gonna slice off just a couple little tiny pieces and I'll grow those out for a little bit. I know this is gonna cause an uproar because a lot of people want this and are gonna be asking me for it. I'm just gonna go ahead and lop off just a little tiny frag on each side. And I know you're like, well, why aren't you doing the mother colony? And the mother colony hasn't been awesome. And I think the only reason why it hasn't been awesome is because the clownfish are just kicking its butt. All right. So we have two different cases of Weeping Willow here. We have the one that's already attached to the rock. This guy's already ready to go. He's already mounted, attached. So that's why we don't have to use rubber bands or anything on this one because he's already good to go. And Mok-Yi or Jim, this will be easy for them to remove from the plug if they don't want the plug, if they just want to mount this in their rock work. That's a good option to give people if you are fragging, because it doesn't really look super attractive right now. And here's the Zoa. Like I said, I don't know what these are. They've kind of morphed over time. I want to say they're superstars. And superstars are a weird Zoa where, like, they will change in everybody's tank. I think Worldwide Corals is the only people that can make them look like they look on the Worldwide Corals website, because they change so much depending on your tank parameters. All right, so we got ourselves a Zoa frag. We got ourselves 2 Willow frags and then 2 loose Willow frags that we'll need to let mount over time. So I'm gonna get a couple more frag plugs and just loosely put a rubber band around them so that they stay put. And we'll go ahead and put these back into the tank. We have these 2 little pieces of Weeping Willow here. Got this piece, which is a little bit bigger, and then this piece is kind of a sliver. And you'd be surprised how small you can cut these and they grow. And I had decent luck with the rubber band method before, and we went through a lot of different, like in the comment section, people suggested so many different things on how you can mount these. And I think I'm just gonna do it the same way again. Sometimes what happened was the Toadstool actually, when it did mount itself to the frag plug, it ended up fragging itself, which in that case wasn't a bad thing. Both pieces still survived, so I'm not really worried about that. One of these is gonna be contributing to a trade for another Toadstool that I really, really like, and I'll definitely show you that whenever I get it, but that's just gonna be a straight up trade. And then the other one is for, well, I think it was the video that I surpassed 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I said I was gonna do a giveaway. Well, I think this might be a good opportunity to give this away. Obviously gonna let it mount, let it grow out a little bit, but I think we might just give it away. So essentially what I'm doing here is I want it to be, see how it's like, it's not super tight, but it'll hold it down to the plug? That's what I want. And again, if it frags itself, I'm kind of okay with that. So I'm just gonna hold it on right there, and it should end up attaching to the plug right there. And we'll do the same thing with this one too. Just kind of wrap it around the stem a little bit to tighten it up, but you don't want it too tight, just kind of, just a little bit. And then you also want it to be polyp side up. So that should work. And then a low flow area. And in my experience, this took about 2 weeks last time to get most of the frags to actually adhere. All right, well, let's get these guys back into the tank, and I think we'll call this a successful fragging session.
End of flashback.
I think I'm gonna pick out a couple more goodies to round out this shipment, and also I think I'm gonna send Jim a Walt Disney frag, or a piece of my Walt Disney frag, to see if he can color that up, because he's had some pretty good success, as you can see, with his Walt Disney. And if you haven't subscribed to their channels, Inappropriate Reefer and Telegraham, I'll link those in the description below. Make sure to give them a sub, they're great dudes. Also, I did a video with Jeremy from the Reef News Network not too long ago, kind of showing how to pack coral, and if you want to trade with a friend across the country, it's still possible. And the only thing in my mind that's super annoying about shipping across the state or across the country is the overnight shipping payment that you have to make, which is going to be upwards of $40, $45, $50+ to ship. Don't let it intimidate you if you're nervous. Like I said, the hardest part is paying for the shipping. In the description below, I also left links for the pump, the pond pump that we use to get the water back into the frag tank, as well as the Dremel or rotary tool that I use that I got from Amazon for a lot cheaper than your typical Dremel. I really need one of those Ultra Zero pumps that CJ makes, because essentially what happens is once the water level reaches a certain point, as the pump that I use to get the water back in, it just stops because the impeller sits higher than the water level. But this Ultra Zero, the impeller is on the bottom of it, so it sucks it all up, which is awesome. I really need one of these. They're so cool. I don't even have it yet, and I know it's awesome. CJ is just a good brand overall. In the meantime, make sure that you check out everything that Ocean State Aquatics is doing, everything that Scott Crow is up to, and more, just by going to Ocean State Aquatics Facebook, Instagram and YouTube page. I know they've got a bunch of new YouTube videos coming out soon, so make sure you keep your eyes open for that. So in the last video, we talked about starting your own YouTube channel for your reef tank, whether that just be to document growth or if you actually want to become a content creator. It's all laid out right there, and I wanted to feature some of those new YouTubers that have just jumped onto the platform. This is Remfish Aquatics.
It's a 55-gallon tank that I bought from Petco, and then I made my own custom stand and canopy, and everything inside is pretty cheap, and anyone can pretty much do it at home.
He's got a good name. And finally, I know this has been like a housekeeping episode, just a whole bunch of stuff. I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video about a Weeping Willow giveaway that is going to happen. It is cut. I'm just gonna let it heal up a little bit and attach it to the plug. That will probably be a contest on Instagram celebrating 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Obviously, we're well past that now, which is awesome. I can't even believe it. But two of the requirements will be to follow me on Instagram, which is at Bahama Llama Coral, or subscribe on YouTube, so you can get that out of the way right now if you want. I'll be posting the rules and how to get in on winning this Weeping Willow frag here in the next week or so. So get ahead of the game and follow Bahama Llama Coral on Instagram right now, and then also like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified whenever I upload new videos. You'll be ahead of the game. It's so crazy to me because this Weeping Willow, I get more messages about than any other coral that I have. And I know I've got a lot of cool Zoanthids and some torches and things like that, but that Weeping Willow will always get a ton of attention. And I love it because I'm a softie for softies, and it's just one of those cool pieces where it doesn't fluoresce at all, but it looks so cool in the tank. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go take a nap for like 3 days, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me.